Nerf Legends may be the worst game I've ever played. While I've played plenty of terrible games, I honestly can't remember any other game that's made me as angry as Nerf Legends did. But the sad part is that this game doesn't really need all that much change for it to have become an easy home run. So let's find out where things went wrong here on Kid Game Breakdown. Now, it's widely known that Nerf is slowly losing its market share in the foam flinging world. So it makes sense that Hasbro would license the property for a family-friendly first-person shooter. The project could have been marketing genius if it had been executed correctly, but ultimately the efforts would just result in a flop released November 19th, 2021. The game has two basic modes. The first is single player and the second is a dead multiplayer. There's also character customization, including loadout options and skins, as well as other collectibles. All these modes and settings are presented to you in an awkward hub world, which might imply that it was originally intended for a multiplayer focused kind of game, similar to like a Xenoverse, or at least I hope that's the case. When we enter the single player, we are presented with a more respectable level select menu, and then once we've selected a level, we have the option to choose from one of three loadouts, and we can also customize those loadouts. While there aren't too many weapon options in the beginning, you will unlock weapons over time by completing levels and then purchasing them with the money you earn in-game. This money is actually given to you at a fairly decent rate, and while it's hard to tell, it seems that they're given to you on a 1-to-1 ratio with the points that you earn in the levels, which is done by basically killing enemies. Unfortunately, this means that the weapons that you will unlock are basically useless, as the guns that are given to you at the beginning of the game are surprisingly solid. And this continues to scale as upgrade slots are given to you by completing certain tasks with the specific weapons, but the upgrades themselves are given to you by completing tasks in the missions. This means that the beginning weapons will just scale way faster than anything else. And even if the other weapons were as good, which most of them aren't, it really doesn't give you any reason to swap to them. The only potential exception to this problem would be swapping out the weapons to see how they feel. And unfortunately, this is also likely to lead to disappointment. You may have noticed that the kick is actually fairly manageable, but then you notice that when your weapon is empty, it immediately points to the ground. It's like really jarring. While this only happens to fully automatic weapons, if you shoot more than a set burst, say 3 or 4 rounds, it is really annoying, especially keeping in mind that I'm using mouse and keyboard, so it doesn't even have the excuse of me holding down the stick to compensate for the kick as an excuse. Ultimately, this makes the mediocre gunplay almost intolerable if you don't adjust your playstyle. And while you can avoid this by using fully automatic weapons as semi-auto, the enemies that you face are actually pretty decent and have a decent amount of variety. The levels that they're placed in are visually impressive, but the level design has a lot to be desired. While I like the open world feel, traversing through the levels can be a pain, as where you need to go isn't always clear. Progress can also be hindered, as it often requires you eliminating every enemy in the area, and they can be occasionally hard to find. This game legitimately made me feel like an old man. I got lost a number of times, while at other times, I progressed in a way that didn't feel right. The pacing of this game is just off, but at least the boss fights are okay, and not as bullet spongy as you would expect, despite the literal sponge bullets you're shooting. The stage masters, on the other hand, are a different story. Firstly, cutscenes in general, they look really dated and cheesy. Did you notice that some of these scenes that I've shown you are from Cubics, an early 2000s TV show. One minute you're killing and fighting some boss, and then the next you're watching a reboot.
My format, Guardian. To mend and defend.
So is this game worth getting as an adult? No. The reason this game made me mad wasn't the fact that it gets things wrong. It's the fact that it gets so close to getting things right. And when you're finally getting into the groove and nearly starting to enjoy it, it throws a wrench into the works and it just kills all the pacing. Is it worth getting for a kid? Also no. Some of the levels are annoying and require you to pay attention to easily missed details. And ultimately, it likely wouldn't hold their attention for more than the first couple of levels, which is terrible considering the $50 price tag. The sad thing is, I can't really think of any good family-friendly alternatives. You could try Chex Quest HD, which is free and okay. I might get around to discussing that in the future, or maybe try Supraland, but I haven't played that game yet. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, and check out my other videos. Until next time, this has been Rob the Slob, and I'll see you in the virtual commute. Bye.